What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are now live, and it's going to be a good live session. I don't know what live number this is, but we're going to rock it out. So let me know if you hear me okay, and all is well. Jay, what's going on? Yo, 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 how are you? Can you hear me okay? Audio coming through all right? Hope so. Loud and clear. Perfect. Perfect. We've got a few questions from the previous forum post, so I'm just going to knock those out real quick. I'll let everybody just a few minutes to jump on here, and then I'll dive into those. Loud and clear. Hi, Robert. What's up? How's it going? Howdy. I've got glue all on my hands. I've been putting up my podcasting room foam board, so if you see my hands, they're all gross. Yeah, I'll let everybody give it a couple more minutes, let everybody else join. And then we'll dive into these Q&As. I'm thinking about doing like a podcasting session Q&A, like a co-hosted podcast with Crystal or something. Let people submit a question and just have like a very informal answer podcast. So let me know if y'all think that'd be kind of cool. Thank you so much. I'm the first question again. LOL. Hey, that's good. I'm all about questions. I'll just go ahead and answer you right quick. Let me reread it just to make sure I'm following it correctly here. So basically, you're asking, you got the marathon. Let me reread this here. You want to do physique and the show you're doing, the New York City show in March. And you're asking kind of how to manipulate the phases to kind of time things appropriately for that. So what I would recommend doing, since the show's in March, is the bulk of your DSK is going to be in phase 2. So time things so that phase 3 winds up being like the month prior to your show. So that way you've got enough time to kind of get in a couple keto refeeds if need be, and you'll leverage those refeeds for peaking on the show. And then basically you'll kind of work backwards from there. So have a month of phase 3 prior to show day, and then make phase 2 the bulk of your course, and then give yourself like a month, maybe 2 in phase 1, but the bulk of it's going to be there in phase 2. And that would be kind of what I would recommend manipulating for timing things around that competition in March. Is it beginning of March or end of March? Yes, Crystal, great idea. Yeah, we're excited about that. I think I told her about it today. I think she's all for it as well, so it should be good. Another question is from Fiona, and she was asking about potassium, whether it needs to be 1,000 milligrams of like absorbed potassium or just total potassium with whatever it's bound to. And honestly, Judy Love answered that question perfectly just beneath it. She even went into detail about why here in the States and in most places, the potassium pills are capped at 99 milligrams. And she's absolutely right. You need, that's based off of 1,000 milligrams of absorbed potassium. And she recommended the Dr. Berg's electrolyte powder. That and ZipFizz both have about 1,000 milligrams. The Dr. Berg's is a really clean source of potassium. So that's honestly going to be where I recommend too. As pointed out in a previous forum post, the Vega Hydrator just changed their formula. So that's actually not as good as it used to be. Abby says, weird, I can hear you on my cell, but not on my laptop. That is very strange. You have like earbuds section or, selected as your preferred audio or something on your laptop, possibly. Not sure exactly, but I cut quick. Yeah, so if you know your body, if you cut pretty quickly, I would time it. I would give yourself plenty of months. So let's see here, January, February, March. That's 4 months there. If you start prepping in December, you've got 4.5 to 5 months, depending on when the show is. So depending on kind of what your starting point is, that's going to obviously have an impact. But if you're starting out at a relatively lean composition, then you'll be able to more than likely make the 4.5 months work well for you. Abby says, no, I just had music playing on YouTube. Oh, well, have both open right now. It works. Huh, it is really strange. Let me know if anybody else is having audio issues on a laptop. And then I think that might have been all of the questions on the forums. Actually, no, we got one more here. Melissa says, hi, Robert. Love watching Q&A videos. I'm not able to catch one live yet. I'm on week 4, phase 1, and haven't lost weight in nearly 8 days. In fact, went up 2 pounds the last couple of days. I also felt terrible this week, tired and lethargic. Obviously, could be a number of factors, not enough water intake, that time of the month for me. But I'm wondering if it's possible I'm at my protein threshold. I'm at 77.5% fat, 20% protein, 2.5 carbs. Or do I keep it going another week or two, upping protein per the spreadsheet and see what happens? So great question there, Melissa. If you think it might be that time of the month for you and you've got some hormonal factors coming into play, then I would definitely let it go through the course of another week or two, increasing protein, and see if that stabilizes. If you're certain that hormones aren't playing a factor, you're getting good sleep, and everything else is pretty solid, then it would be safe to say you're probably at your protein threshold. However, at 77.5% of your calories coming from fat, I would like to see you get a tad lower on that ratio so that you get a little bit more protein, a little bit more runway to work with. But if not, 77.5 is still pretty solid. I was 52 in the picture I attached and did the cut by week 10. I had to cut back on cardio. Wow, 52 in that picture. That's awesome. No, I'm excited for you. You're gonna kill it. I always gravitate towards giving yourself more time than not enough time, simply because I'd rather coast into a competition than try and make up for lost ground there at the end. But again, if you know your body really well, was that show done with keto or no? Kristen B says no issues, loud and clear. Okay, good. That's what I like to hear. So all the questions on the forums, on those live Q&A forum posts have been answered. So if anybody's got questions now on the live, I'm giving my full focus and attention to you wonderful people. Abby says, I opened up my spreadsheet today and realized that my refeed next week, I go down in my calories. This is my last week in the sheet for offboarding. I'm not sure if this is a factor or not. And I realized that my refeed next week, I go down in my calories. Yes. So the refeed in the offboarding, make sure I'm telling you this right. So like when you're in phase 3, your weekly calories are going down and your refeed calories are going up. When you're in the offboarding phase, your weekly calories are going up and your refeed calories go down until they more or less meet in the middle. Once they meet in the middle, then you basically don't need the refeed anymore. You can phase out the refeed and then just continue to increase the weekly macros. So like if it's showing your refeed macros to be lower than your previous refeed macros, then that's the equation, the formula in the spreadsheet illustrating that you've pretty much hit that point. So at that point, you can pretty much phase out the refeed. I'm assuming the weekly calories and the refeed calories are pretty close, right? No, so that was not keto when you did that show. A standard low fat, low carb, high dry protein. Many people dropped out during training by week 9. Yeah, so many competitors do that. I don't know why they do that. I actually had one of my clients I recorded a podcast with him today, and he did his first competition 2 weeks ago, and he did it all keto, obviously working with me. And it's crazy because like all the other competitors backstage are, eating rice cakes and just eating carbs, and he's eating, nut butters and fats and fat bombs. So totally opposite in the spectrum, but much better in my opinion, for sure. In my opinion, all natural bodybuilders, I mean, it just makes perfect sense. Like from a natural bodybuilding perspective, you should be doing a ketogenic diet, like from a hormonal standpoint and from a reverse dieting standpoint. You're not going to be doing near the long-term damage to your system doing a keto as opposed to doing like a standard bro diet approach of no carbs, no fat, and super high protein. But what do I know? Lost some strength while getting to the end Is it because the body has been slightly depleted over and over? Yes. So if you lose a little bit of strength towards the end of the 90 days, that is totally understandable, totally expected, and it's okay, honestly. I mean, there's a couple of different factors. One, you're depleted. You're taking less fuel, less energy. That's going to like be taxing on the body if your exercise has stayed the same or even increased. But also from a leverage standpoint, you're just not going to have as much leverage. Like deadlifts, for instance. Like if I have 30 pounds on me, I'm going to be able to use more body weight and leverage to get that weight up. Whereas if I'm 30 pounds leaner, I'm not going to have it. Even if I didn't lose any muscle, just simply having that weight from a leverage standpoint makes a huge difference. Will I bounce back offboarding? Yes, you'll bounce back and then some, because basically when you deplete yourself through this course and you're at a caloric deficit, when you introduce your calories back and you increase those, your body's primed for growth. That's why it's important that you train hard and you eat quality foods and you're still on top of your macros when you offboard, because it's primed for all kinds of growth. It's easily accepting fat and it will convert to fat if not used, or it's going to easily produce muscle. So train hard, eat clean, and rock that prime window in your offboarding to put on muscle. Abby says, no, like this week, my macros are 139.60. My refeed today is 143.70. Next week, my weekly macros are 144.66. The refeed day is 139.54. Yeah, so you see how your refeed today is 143.70, and next week, your weekly macros are 144.66. I mean, that's super, super close. So basically, at that stage, you don't even need the refeed. So next week, keep your total weekly calories at 144.66. Like you won't even need the refeed. And then the following week, you can do like 150 and 70 or something like that for the entire week. No refeed necessary. All shows were all natural, and yes, they were eating tons of candy, chips, and junk food. I bought a sweet potato. Or I bought a sweet potato. Yeah, it's funny. Like some of the stuff that people do to peak for an event is just so counterproductive and not healthy, not sustainable. And people introduce all these crazy like manipulations right there at the end that they have not even experimented with, and they wonder why their body didn't respond well to it. It's the first time they've ever done it, and they introduce a crazy variable right there when their body's most volatile, and it's just not smart. So keto, coasting into the competition is 100% the way to go. By the way, I'm addicted to these Ozarka sparkling waters, lime flavored. No sweeteners, no flavorings or artificial flavoring, just simply like a natural lime flavor. What made you start keto? Just curious. So I've done a couple videos and podcasts on this, but basically it was after my third competition. I was having like eating disorders and everything that had been triggered after my first competition, and I just wanted to find a better way. So I started doing carbohydrate backloading, and that kind of led to keto. So I was doing keto by accident almost. And then once I figured out what I was doing, I just went down the rabbit hole, and it was history after that. I never looked back. No carb since. Maybe off topic, but how does carnivore keto work with high protein level? I like the idea of gut elimination improvement, but high protein kicks me out of ketosis with a quickness. Yeah, so carnivore is super hot right now, and I have nothing against carnivore, but one mistake I see a lot of people making is they'll have like way too high protein on carnivore. Like if your body's using fat for fuel, which it is, that's what it's supposed to be if you're doing carnivore, then you don't need a whole bunch of protein. Like you just don't. So when I do carnivore keto, I continue to maintain like an 80%, fat ratio, 70 to 80% fat ratio. A lot of people advocate for like a 1-to-1, like a 50-50. And it's just, I don't know, like I don't feel as well. My ketones plummet, my glucose elevates, like it's just not optimal. So I would still advocate a higher fat ratio with carnivore. Let's see here. Okay, that's what I was kind of leaning towards. As I understand what you first said with how refeeds work in this phase, next week the refeed day was different than the past weeks. Yeah, so basically we'll just phase that refeed out entirely. No longer necessary. Just keep increasing the weekly calories. Crystal found those, right? Crystal found what, right? Did I miss a question somewhere? What Crystal find? How often should you train? Asks Shannon. That's going to be based on the individual. I train 6, 7 days a week sometimes. Kind of depends on what your work schedule, life schedule, lifestyle is like. Um, you know, don't have to worry about overtraining. Like overtraining is you don't have to worry about overtraining. Like if your schedule permits, train 4, 5, 6 days a week. But yeah, I mean you can train quite a bit more than people would like to think. I can't believe that I'm at 1,600 calories and maintaining my weight still. On Monday, it goes up to 1,700. Yeah, isn't that cool though? I mean, the fact that you're able to increase your calories and have no adverse effects. I mean, honestly, I'm amazed at how well I'm doing at 6,000 calories. Like I put on body fat, but I'm at 6,000 calories now, y'all. I mean, that's crazy. And I mean, I feel great. Let's see here. I'm honestly afraid to onboard because I feel like my abs won't be as flat. Don't let that bother you. That is a necessary thing. Even if even if you fill out a little bit more and you bloat a little bit more simply because you're taking in more food, like your organs, when you eat more food, your organs grow. I don't know how much they grow, but they grow when you're increasing your caloric intake. And I mean, that's just a natural thing. So, if you are a little bit more bloated or a little bit more bigger, it's not necessarily equate to fat gain. So don't think that you're just putting on a bunch of body fat. Probably referring to the lime water. Oh yeah. She found these. There are a lot of places around here. Like I think she gets them at oh shoot, where did we get them the other day? I don't know where we got them. They sell them in Arkansas. Ozarka is an Arkansas-based company, I think, in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So there's a bunch of them here. Can you talk about breaking stalls? I know it's very individual, but in general, what are some things I can do? Been stuck in the mid to low 180s for a couple months now. Yeah, so I'd have to, like you said, kind of take it more from an individual basis. But what's your cardio level like? Have you totally maxed out on all your cardio? Is that pretty much like capped out? What's your hunger levels like? How much have you titrated your calories down? Like, are you pretty hungry now? Like, are you getting pretty low on the calories? Have you introduced refeeds yet? Can you give a little bit more information there? And just because your weight is stalling doesn't necessarily mean that your progress and success is stalled. I mean, that's why I really, really advocate taking pictures and measurements, because your weight might stay the same for 2 months, but if you're seeing noticeable changes in the mirror and noticeable changes in the pictures, more so than the mirror, but pictures and changes in measurements, you're definitely not stalled. The podcast with Dr. Barry was awesome. By the way, he should be a regular on your show. Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool dude. I'm actually going to meet up with him on Thursday to get all my blood drawn. So I'm excited about that. Yes, Rose, thank you. The Ozarka water, I think Crystal found these. Here's my question. Your client and experience, how different are women's protein thresholds in general ranges? Good question. So women, just on average, again, everybody's individual, but just on average, I've noticed that women tend to respond better with a higher fat ratio than men. I'm not gonna say better, but they can tolerate a higher fat ratio. Like men often their highest will be like around 82% of their calories come from fat, where I've taken female clients up to like 86% of their calories coming from fat, for short periods of time, but they respond really well to that. Do you test blood ketones ever? Yeah, occasionally. I actually tested mine today and I was 0.8, which is not very much, but at this huge caloric intake that I'm at now, I don't expect it to be very high. But on average, like if I'm not eating 6,000 calories, I usually, I'm between like 1.5 and 2.5 usually. What do you think of the BAI drink? The BAI drink. I don't like it. I haven't had one. I don't know if they've changed their formula, but I remember looking at it when I first saw them come out, and I thought they had a bunch of, if I remember correctly, there was a bunch of like added sweeteners or sugars or something in there, but there was something I didn't like. I don't remember what it was though. I feel like I'm losing my shred in offboarding, trying not to be disappointed, but welcome your feedback. Yeah, so you're not going to be as lean at the end of offboarding as you were at the height or the peak of your phase 3. Like you're just not. Like you're increasing your calories. Kind of like when I go through a contest prep and I, lean out to 3.5% body fat. As soon as I start reverse dieting, I'm not going to maintain 3.5% body fat. Like it's just not sustainable. It's like a cycle. Every time you go through the course, every time you go through a caloric, depletion, and then add in calories, your body fat increases and decreases. But each time you do that, you give yourself a better starting position and you get a bit leaner. You give your body more muscle memory, more muscle maturity, and it makes it easier to get down to that leaner level next time you go through because your body's been there before. So it's like a constant evolving process. But by the offboarding like you are, you're improving your metabolism and your hormonal foundation. So you should wind up being leaner than you were when you first started the course at the end of your offboarding, if that makes sense. Let's see here. During DSK, high rep, moderate weights, or low reps, high weights. So I always advocate going heavy, not necessarily super low rep. Like I try to get, at least 5 to 12 reps usually. But the whole concept of if you want to lean out, lightweight, more reps. If you want to get bigger, low reps, high weight isn't necessarily true. When you're training and stimulating your muscle through heavy resistance training, you're basically signaling to your body that, okay, we need to make, build, and sustain this muscle to move this weight. If you start dropping your calories and then like you will be in DSK and then start dropping the weight that you're pushing, your body's going to become catabolic and use a lot of that muscle tissue that you've built to replenish that gap that you're taking from the caloric depletion. So continue to lift heavy to send that signal that your body still needs that muscle so you're going to be less catabolic. Let's see here. Good advice. Thanks. Well, you betcha. You betcha. All right. We still got all kinds of time here, so feel free to send some more questions, y'all. I don't know why my phone just went off here. Let me silence that. But yeah, keep on keeping on with the questions. We still got all kinds of time. All kinds of time. We're going to be, in other news, totally random, y'all, but we had our health inspection the other day. We got our place cleared to make bricks at our new facility here. So we're going to start making bricks in-house instead of having to go to that other shared commercial kitchen space that we've been leasing. So I'm excited about that for sure. We can pump out more bricks now. Do you plan your meals out or take it day by day? So since the macros change on a weekly basis, what I like to do, just to kind of remove some variance, is I'll prep my meals for that week, and then I'll be consistent with my meals that entire week, keep it pretty much the same thing. And then the next week, as my calories change, I'll pretty much switch out my meals, kind of adjust for whatever else I'm craving, if I'm just wanting a different texture or something. But I basically prep on a week-by-week basis, if that makes sense. Let's see here. How long should you break between cuts? Should you cut in bulk or cut and maintain between cycles, assuming you still have fat to lose? So you don't necessarily, if you still have fat to lose, you don't necessarily need to bulk per se. I mean, you can be at a maintenance or maybe a slight surplus because, I mean, you will in theory be building muscle that time. So, you want to give yourself enough calories to build tissue. Generally speaking, if you're in a DSK is 90 days, say you're doing 3 months of a course of a cutting course, and then I like to at least double that time at maintenance or in a surplus. So, if you do DSK for 3 months, then try and be at maintenance or a surplus for 6 months at least. That's usually like a pretty good general rule of thumb. Have you figured out your strategy for running the marathon besides drinking that nasty drink you made? My strategy is strap on my tennis shoes and don't stop running. I have no plan really. I'm gonna get I'm gonna shoot for I'm not gonna try and break any record. I'm just gonna shoot for like a 10 to 12 minute pace, like super slow, and then based off of that pace, find an audiobook that's about the length of the marathon, and then just listen to that and run and tune out and zone out and get it done. That's kind of my plan. Using My Macros Plus, right? Yep, that's what I use for tracking my macros. That's what I prefer. That's what I recommend. It's just really user friendly, and it's got its flaws, but for the most part, it's the best one that I've played around with. So I like it a lot. Thoughts on flax or chia seed? Is a couple tablespoons a day okay? Since mainly fiber, it's great in Kite Hill. Yeah, so a couple tablespoons would be fine. I would still count those carbs, even though it is mostly fiber. If you're over your 10 grams by, a couple grams that day because of the flax or chia, it's probably fine. But, not that's very dangerous advice, because a lot of people are going to take that and run with it. You don't want to be over by like 15, 20 grams on carbs ever, no matter what. So, keep that within reason. I would try and make the bulk of your carbs that day come from that if you're going to have that, and then just kind of budget for it. Dude, Body Glide, you must get that. Friction is not your friend. I recorded a podcast yesterday with an ultra endurance runner, and I was asking, I'm excited for this podcast to go live. It hadn't gone live yet. But I asked him about Body Glide. I'm like, okay, so what is the best anti-chafing thing? And I've heard of Body Glide. Should I get that? Like, do you recommend something? And this guy runs ultra endurance. He's run the Badwater 135 7 times now, so he knows what he's talking about. And he's like, Body Glide's good, but there's something better. And he's like, and this is all on air. He's like, I recommend a silicone-based sex lube. So I'm like, okay, silicone-based sex lube for anti-chafing with the endurance run. Sounds good. I'll order some. So that's gonna be my strategy there. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, if anybody came into this conversation right when I was saying that, they got a little context there instead of thinking this is just a crazy life. For females, what have you found for their new maintenance calories compared to where they started with a cut? So it kind of depends if they had to go through onboarding or not. Like Crystal, for instance, I'll use her as an example, since she basically did the DSK course. In essence, her calories now are like 1,900 to 2,000, and she's losing weight. Previously, she was at like 1,700 at a maintenance, so she's basically gone up 200 to 300 calories to have the same effect, which is pretty good when you think about it. And men are probably going to be a little bit higher than that, just on average, but 200 or 300 calories higher each time you go through and cycle through is really good. What are your thoughts on resistance band training? My buddy got this X3 bar. Not sure if you heard of it. I have heard of that. I wouldn't make that my primary thing for training, but like that, I think that would be great for like if you're traveling or something, having that available. It's easy. You can pack it up and throw it in a vehicle. So I like it for that reason, but I wouldn't want that to be like my bread and butter. Lube, all good. Just use it. Yeah, I'll definitely use that for sure. When are going to compete again? So I'm not going to compete again until 2020 probably. And the reason being is, as a natural athlete, I want to give my body enough time to build quality, lean, dense muscle. And that takes time. I mean, as a natural athlete, if you're putting on 2 pounds of muscle a year, if you've been, lifting for a while, that's good. 2-3 pounds a year is rock solid. So, I'm going to give myself some time, put on some muscle, so when I step on stage in 2020, it's a noticeable improvement from my last competition. And then it's basically just lights out for anybody up on stage with me. I've used Vaseline while hiking. Also coconut oil. Both work great. That's pretty smart. I have not thought of the coconut oil, but that makes sense for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of weird getting all oiled up to go run, but it sure does beat the alternative. So I'll definitely do it. Crystal's on Keto Bricks IG account right now. Really? She posting Keto Brick stuff? Cracking a whip on her? Yeah, she's a rock star. I'm so glad that she does that. She's a huge help. Huge help. Let's see here. What are the questions we got? Saw in a past vlog you follow Seth Roast. Do you follow any other bodybuilders? Yeah, I follow a lot of bodybuilders. Not crazy like I don't have time to consume a whole bunch of content since I'm so busy making content, but I like a lot of the bodybuilders, especially like the classic division. I mean, it's gonna be exciting. Like the classic division is bringing back like the aesthetics that I like. So I follow some of them, kind of see what they got going on. Um, the Olympic competition is next week, so I'm gonna be watching that. That's one of the few organized sports events that I actually enjoy watching. So I'm looking forward to that. I look, but my sells my audio still. Ah, yeah, that's right. You can't be switching over. You just got tagged. Nice. How's all that MCT oil settling with you? Surprisingly, it seems really good. I don't know if I would do that like in the beginning of the day, but having that shake and then pretty much going to bed right afterwards, I haven't had any kind of adverse effect at all. So I like that a lot. I hate that I'm having to eat so many calories at night though. Like I've been just busy all day, and I didn't get to eat my first meal until like 3 or 4. And then like I'm totally full right now, but I'm gonna have to eat another like 4,000 calories before I go to bed, and I'm just stuffed. Like I don't want to, but I have to. So we'll get it in. We'll make it happen. But other than that, it's not been causing too much GI upset at all, surprisingly. What bodybuilders have you been influenced by? Really liked Flex Wheeler back in the 90s. All the 90s bodybuilders are super cool. Like I like their posing, I like their physiques. Like the 90s bodybuilders was a really good year. Really good decade. So like Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, just name a few. Just got a bottle of MCT and a straw. No, that would definitely tear me up. I think the reason it hadn't torn me up is because I've got it diluted with so much other stuff. But if I was to do just MCT and a straw, it'd be lights out. I had a very bad experience with too much MCT concentrated all in one dose, so I'm hoping that does not happen again, because I do not have enough toilet paper. Not good at all. Not good at all. All right, so any other questions by chance? Anything at all? Anything else I can answer for you? How's the time frame as far as these lives go? I'm sure since y'all are all on here, the time frame is probably good for y'all. But I kind of want to mix and match it up so that people at all different time zones can get a heads up. Anything planned in the future with Danny Vega? I've actually got a call with Danny Vega tomorrow, and we're going to talk shop. Danny and I are super cool. Like he's my homeboy. We're pretty close. So we haven't done anything together formally yet, but there's plans for sure. So it'll be a little while, but it'll be really, really good. Or any other keto YouTubers. I just want to get set up here, and then once I'm set up here, I can bring people here and just like do a whole bunch of collaborative stuff. Because I think this can have the potential to be like a hub. Not like that location specifically, but just the resources that I'll have here. So I want to get this set up and then invite people to come in and create content. So that's kind of my big picture plan there. But that's a little bit down the road. That's what I'm excited about, though. For sure. Oh, I meant to ask y'all, did y'all get an email saying that we're going to do a live tonight at 7? I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're doing these. So I posted on the forum, but I think Keto Connect sent out an email. I hope Keto Connect sent out an email to let everybody know that we got a live at 7. So any emails that y'all saw, that'll be cool to see. Yes. So Judy says yes, and Abby says no. So email or no email? It's good to change it up. Love that, Danny Vega. Love that idea of the headquarters and content. Yes, I got the email. It's a good idea to do that. Okay, perfect. Yeah. No email, just when you go live. Okay, so what's going on here? We got 2 people that said you got an email, and 2 people said we didn't get an email. And then the 5th says they did get an email. And then the 6th says they didn't get an email. So we're going tit for tat here, one-on-one. So I don't know who did and who did not get an email. That's very strange. It didn't go out to everybody. But we're going to refine that and make sure everybody gets a notification. It was from Keto Connect. Okay, good. I'm glad some people got it. We'll see if we can get that refined so that everybody gets it going forward. But I want everybody to get plenty of notice and heads up that it's going to go live. It could have gone to the spam folder. Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, y'all. Well, if no other questions are here, I'm going to get back to work and talk to y'all wonderful people next week. And then feel free to, hit us up on the forums or anything as well. And if you have any coaching questions, just a heads up, Christos and Crystal are all coaches for DSK. So, and we got great moderators. So if any questions are out there, definitely let us know. We'll get them answered. Don't think I got an email, but some weeks got so many emails, could just easy to miss it. Yeah. Okay. Good. Glad y'all are getting them. All right, y'all. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we will see each other next week. Let us know if you have any questions in the meantime, and take care. Have a great remaining Saturday and Sunday. So catch y'all later.